We were just trying to recap. We could not do. By that time, I think it was late. So there is couple of we are behind a little behind the schedule, Swati. So, but one thing is. Whatever that is required in the future task, no, like the rest of the task that is going to upcoming task, we are covering it in detail. So somehow we will be able to catch up the schedule,
Okay.
right? Certain things like for the couple of tasks that comes in future, like support organization change, we have given a depth, so that will take less time to complete. So that's how we plan to compensate. So as and when we see, we will try to go depth. And when we go to the respective slide where there's a repetition on the same topic, we will have a quick recap and then we move on, right?
Makes sense.
Okay. So just we have to be we'll keep an eye on the schedule. We are a little behind the schedule, but we'll no problem. But right, important thing is like with little effort, are you grabbing the stuffs, and you should avoid so much of revisions. Correct. Then you just have to think through and do a little revision and take the exam. That's the whole objective. Let's see, right? Now, we were looking at the various, when we were discussing on so many things, right? Like what is compliance, and we saw an example of compliance requirement, and compliance requirements comes from different aspects because aspect of solutions or how my project is executed or out of my output of my project, how I use my output of my project. All this will may require a compliance. So, so we need to categorize compliance to prioritize, coordinate, and to ease management and take a holistic approach to resolution. And yeah, am I audible and clear? Because I changed my laptop, wanted to ensure. If any echo or anything, let me know. Is
I
it clear?
changed my laptop too.
Oh, good. Okay. From my side, it's clear, Aswati.
Yes, it is. Perfect.
Okay,
Thanks.
clear. Right. So, and then non-compliance, the consequence, it will lead to reputation, brand loyalty, fine, penalty, termination, imprisonment. So, compliance calls for a risk management because the non-compliance itself is a major risk. There's a huge negative consequence if we are not compliant, and the team may not be aware of the compliance requirement because SMEs are the one who are mostly very little in the maybe little in the organization or people in the external. We need to hire uh, compliance expert from outside, so the team may not be aware, and there may be an interpretation error by the team on the compliance requirement. And there are situations where compliance requirement may dynamically change, and so this calls for the risk management. Now, quality management, we do any other requirement, right? Like all the compliance requirement will journey through the entire um, uh, uh, the process of all the knowledge area which we were discussing yesterday, the scope, time, cost, all the processes, it's applicable for that also, for compliance requirement also. Only thing is you need to pay more attention because this is imperative, this is more critical. And we also use external auditors to check whether are we compliant, and we will come out with a quality management plan, quality assurance, and quality control. So this is a separate knowledge area which we will look in detail. But and I'm indicating right now because compliance has to go through quality management and risk management. So when we on these, we will have a separate discussions also planned as part of the another knowledge area, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, so we saw all this, and this is the enabler, and this is the categories. So whatever we saw is overview. In a nutshell, we saw. So let us see in slide anything we missed. So compliance requirement, you classify based on the industry and solution scope. See, for example, banking it's different, chemical engineering it's different, You do it based on industry and solution scope, and you do it organizational level or project level. So organization level, an example could be all of the payment has to take part, I mean, has to incorporate GST as one of the tax regulation we have to follow. So the organization level people will all align to this the new uh, compliance. Project level is you do it only project specific. So you categorize based on quality, safety, workplace health, process risk, corrupt practice, environmental risk, and social responsibility. So this is a limited list. There could be more. This is just to give an idea, like what are the list of compliance categories you may consider to use. Now, your compliance, you need to, in order to handle this compliance properly. So you need to plan and you need to plan the compliance, plan it ahead. You need to plan the risk management ahead. You need to also take care on quality management plan ahead. Okay, to start with, once you establish the compliance requirement, and certain tools we use like sign offs and approvals. So basically, often when you get a sign off and approval, the good thing is moment you head to the next stage, you're confident that your auditor has vouched for the artifacts so far, correct? So that will give you confidence, like are we heading to the right direction, are we compliant until now, and are we good in the approach. So all these thing comes under sign offs and approval. Any thoughts on sign off approval? You do have that. So I'll tell you, in in aero industry, aero avionics industry. So what they insist is every stage, like for example, your design stage, an external auditor will come and see. It's called stages of involvement audit. Every stage, external auditor comes and he will say whether are you compliant or not. So once when you get sign off on the design phase, or I mean architecture phase, that is a transition criteria to move to the next phase. So that's stringent it is, and I think same thing is what medical domain also do follow, and industry safety also do follow sign offs and approval at various stages. Only when sign off of the preceding stage comes, it's a transition criteria. It is where next time you are allowed, I mean, you are allowed to head to the next phase. You understand the significance of sign offs and approval, no? Can I move on
Yes.
now? Tolerance and variance analysis. See, tolerance is nothing but, like for example, it's a acceptable quantified variation. Now, use it's like you can't promise all the time the very same number 100%. You will say, for example, um, you're filling the scent, okay, the scent liquid in a bottle. That's your that's your product. So you can't commit all the time 100 ml there. You can, there'll be a variation, like there'll be some zero point 0.5 plus or minus, either it can be 95 ml or 110 ml. If it's 95 ml, it is going to impact customer. If it's 110 ml, it's going to impact 105 ml, it's going to impact the company who produce it, correct? So
Mhm.
there is a tolerance where it's an acceptable quantified variation. You're still okay with this, we will accept the product. Okay. Now this tolerance, I hope I communicated what is tolerance. Okay. The same thing is when you take care of any and the scope or quality or cost, you will have some tolerance allowed, which you agree with your senior manager. Okay. And exactly on this around it, maybe you can decrease the percentage of tolerance, but you will come out with the tolerance to accommodate changes, variations in your product.
Yep.
What kind? Yeah.
So
Yes,
yeah,
Mati.
even
Yeah.
number of adjustments. You cannot be 100% all the time. So you want to have that leeway. So,
Yeah. That makes sense. So the variance analysis also you bring into picture. So okay, once when tolerance comes, no, like beyond your control, beyond your authority as a project manager, you can work until the tolerance level. But once it exceeds your tolerance level, yes, your cost you're managing. Sometimes within this cost variation, your management will approve. Beyond that, your management will not approve. It is beyond the authority of the project manager to work through and get it done. If it's not possible under his authority, he will escalate it. Okay.
mhm,
Like use it's one of the checkpoints which you keep, beyond which when should I ask my escalate and when should I approach escalation. So
mhm,
tolerance and escalations are closely related. Beyond a tolerance, escalation starts. Right. So variance analysis. It's basically variance is very straightforward. The plan versus actual. The plan or the approved plan is called baseline. The approved numbers, the approved whatever that you agree on a scope, on a particular schedule, whatever that is agreed is called formally agreed is called baseline. The difference between the baseline and the actuals is variance analysis. Okay. Now you do this to say how far you are deviated from the compliance, and you also take up audits and report. Okay. And one important point, there is something called configuration management system. Okay, which we will cover after we walk through. So these are all you need to use. You are doing risk management, no? So you need to log the risk. Okay, so you will use a register in the sense an Excel sheet kind of a spreadsheet. Okay, where you will log all the risk involved. You also ensure you can when you list down the risk, no, this is the risk which is related to what category, and what is the probability of that risk that can come, what is the impact of that risk that risk might create. Okay, and who is the owner to address the risk. So you need to, this is one of the tool to handle your risk management. Okay. And yeah, any questions so far?
mhm,
Yeah. So this anyway will risk management will cover in detail, but frequently referring back and forth the topic will help you correlate. So now we are going to call on risk management and quality management, which we will see it on day 4 and day 5 or day 6 and day 7, right? So it is just an Excel sheet you can assume to start with. Then that slide they will have a detailed template. Now, configuration management will come back. After finishing all this, we'll come back. So we saw variance analysis, okay, just to see the difference, and we saw potential threats to analysis, compliance. So we identify new vulnerabilities and errors in testing. And see, remember, uh, what are the reason to get compliance is we were indicating a reason a team may not be familiar with the compliance, team may have misinterpretation errors, all we saw, right? See, there are situations where when you there may be errors in testing and validation also, correct? You can't rely that that is, if that is not reliable, that will pose as a threat. You will say it is passed, but it's not actually passed.
mhm,
And identification of new vulnerabilities, like we saw the changes in the requirement, if it is dynamic, um, that is one. And there are other reasons that a risk may pose uh, to handle your compliance requirement. So those are the one. And errors and bugs in your deliverables,
mhm,
important. Like when you deliver, you here is where you think you are tested properly, but there is a issue in testing. But here there are errors in your deliverables, right?
mhm,
So we saw sign offs and approval, and okay, once again. So we saw the analyze the consequence of non-compliance, and so towards addressing. So we are defining the legal, regulatory, and other constraint, the business rules that constrain the project solution and improve the likelihood of compliance. So what are uh, the, the basic requirements from business perspective, which will constrain the solution? We'll jot down, and then we saw, right, once we jot down, we're going to confirm whether our requirements, enlisted requirements, are right, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And parts of the potential solution subject to uh, yeah, like we were seeing the output or using the output. So part of the potential solution subject to compliance. Okay, and anything, right? I need to cover on. I want to touch upon quality management plan, and then I want to do it on configuration management. We'll do 1 second. We do quality reporting. Okay, so this is basically you sensitize, you do it periodically, and you do it risk. I mean, this complaints related one is a top item for you to communicate. So every opportunity to communicate, like a periodic review meeting, your senior management review meeting, your monthly management review, or your interface with customer on a monthly basis, let the compliance and its associated management, what you do, should be highlighted. Okay, and this involves what are the total number of risks that you have, and how much you have validated, and how much is the compliance you have achieved. Okay, all these things you are actually preparing as a report. Now, two things I forgot to detail out, Swati, which we will have in the respective knowledge area. Okay, the first thing is the compliance requirement. Whenever you use it, is preferred or it is recommended to use requirements traceability matrix. You heard of this term, no?
Mm-hmm.
Requirement. This requirement traceability matrix.
Yeah.
RTM, just in short, right? Building. So RTM is basically, yeah. So requirement traceability matrix is basically you list down the requirement. You have a requirement, and you assign an ID in a spreadsheet. It's basically an Excel sheet which say a requirement, an ID as a unique identifier to handpick the requirement at any point of time, and then you're going to say whether is it aligned to business objective, is it aligned to project objective, okay, is it designed, I mean, is the requirement reviewed, okay, or is the requirement is going to exist or we are going to remove, okay, and some feasibility, whether it is feasible to implement. So once this is there, it's all it's all in one spreadsheet, each record for each requirement, whether you have, whether you can, whether is it designed, architected, designed, developed, tested, and customer acceptance received. Right? These are very limited. I mean, there are quite a huge list, but you are able to make a sense. No, there's an Excel sheet with this kind of columns.
Mm-hmm.
Able to make sense of this, Swati? We are going to look in detail in the scope management.
Sure.
RTM is one of the thing. So I just want to give a preamble. Okay, this just needs a preamble. Why? Suppose you are defining list of compliance requirement. You want to ensure whether the compliance requirement is tested or not. If not, no, you're going to prepare in your dashboard. No, no, we have done all so many things we have done, but we have not done on the compliance requirement. Where 2 is pending or 10 is pending, then it's an alarm for you, correct? For your management, something need to be, someone need to pitch in and solve. Now there is something called configuration management system. uh, you use it, you use something like SVN, right,
Mm.
in yours.
No, really, I have to know maybe if there are any different terminology.
Okay, so this configuration management system is what we have been using, but it's a different term here. See, so this is basically you have I think some Hudson build and all you should know. Like for example, there are a lot of people working in your software project, and you want to understand which is the right version. You call subversions, they call SVN subversions,
Mhm.
or even okay, right. See, this is basically each 10 people are working now. Each one are working on this, all of them are working on the same project, but we don't know which is the latest code that I have to extract.
Mhm.
So what they do is they check in into the repository, and they'll check in with into the repository, and when you release it to customer, no. So for
Mhm.
example, there are files Swati developed, file Ravi developed, file another person developed. My version of file will be like I have 10 version, I will use the version 9 to release it to you, to the team, and you will use one particular version to release to the team. So what we do is there is you have to integrate all the source code files, use that respective version, and test it and take it to customer approval. So this is the advantage of uh, version control. But Swati, I think you should definitely use as part of IT, maybe in some other what is it name, or you should
Yeah,
have some version
and
control.
sure. We have the version control. I'm just trying to get the application and then I mean, I remember because the past 3 years I was not in the complete IT, right? Even
Mm-hmm.
so, for me, like we generally give the requirements. We are part of the data office, so the IT
Okay.
teams manages and they releases. Once the product is, I'm not part of that IT
Okay.
cycles. So that's
Yeah.
why it's like touch, but I'm thinking like 3 years ago, yes, I do remember the code and they used to, which is the latest code. I
Yeah.
remember these conversations, yes.
Yeah. So this is basically for tracking, versioning, and of the artifacts. Okay. Now, why this is okay? On a high level, we understood. I just okay. On a high level, we understood. There are so many people are going to work in my project. Each
Mm-hmm.
one they have a stable version, some work in progress version. Correct. Now, when suppose in the month of March 18, we are releasing one product. What we do for from all the 10-member team, we will take version, a stable version, and we will integrate it, test it, and release it to customer.
Right.
That's how Android, each version of Android, each version of Windows patch, it's coming, right? So this version of Windows is 365, which is updated yesterday. So what they do, the next version maybe they may plan to release it. They will plan it offline. Okay, you will not know as a user. PowerPoint, they will keep updating. You will not know as a user. What they do, they plan it offline. 1 month, next month, what are we going to release? So they're going to list down the bugs that we received, and they each of them they're going to say, I'm going to work on this. Each will work on a version which is a work in progress version now, but they have some stable version which is created, correct, based on the previous work. Those stable version you integrate together, and you go for all the journey, like integration testing and customer release and customer acceptance. The advent the, what is significant from um, this compliance perspective is you will be able to evidence now when an auditor comes. See, for example, in a construction industry, I mean, an external auditor comes in every phases also, right? In some countries it's very stringent also. So external auditor will come at the design phase. Suppose site survey, when the land is clear, they will come and see, and they will check when to ensure whether have you built this built it, and then you are asking for approval. They will also do that check, right? So they will come to the and visit the land, and they say give approval. And next time, after you design, they will again check the site, they'll check the design. So each stages they check. Now, in the third or fourth stage, you want to retrieve the documents which you use it for the first stage. So you will be able to extract it because you have the proof of validation available with you. Yes.
Yes.
So actually, you need to, whenever we think on, there are two scales we need to understand the concept. One is in a micro scale. Okay, what is this? This is equivalent to an example. We'll have to correlate, and then you have to step back. And one more thing you need to. What if it's a large project? How is it going to be significant? So as a project manager who handles multiple projects, you will insist for configuration management, correct? Because each one, then it will become we become people dependent. So this will help you. Anyone can retrieve, and the other advantages. Suppose you are delivering, you are giving a banking solution to various customers. So if you give compliance, whatever that you followed in and captured in configuration management system, when you give it to your customer, the advantage is customer can follow through the compliance, the same versioning in his area, correct? He'll be able to follow through.
But this is not only applicable for compliance, is it? It's just like anything. It's like having the
Correct,
latest
correct.
whatever we release. So it's important that.
Exactly, exactly. Exactly. So it is applicable for that's why we just have it a previous word like any other requirement. It will journey through all the knowledge area, but we need to give special attention because in risk report you cannot miss this. You can miss employee holidays, number of holidays people, but you cannot forget this compliance reporting. Someone would have given a non-compliance. If you don't capture in the reporting number of non-compliance received 5 and actions taken 0, so that has to be indicated to senior management as a part of reviews, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And we saw escalation procedure. Okay. Escalation procedure, once you reach beyond the tolerance level or authority of your project manager, you escalate. And see, quality management. Uh, anyway, we're going to come in detail, but I want to touch upon the topic so you can live with that for and think on that. So, quality management means like here our insist what we insist is the deliverable, what we give it to customer, is it fulfilling the requirement, is it fulfilling, is it fit to use, not only fulfilling requirement, is it fit to use. I have a door, I can open and close, but if the door creates noise, then it's not fit to use. So the quality management focus on couple of areas. One is how are you conforming your requirement, your solution to the requirement, and is it fit for use. Now this is on the general definition of quality management, but what it's going to translate in for handling compliance requirement is from the day one you have to ensure this is the compliance is the one which you found out, you need to follow. You need to start devising a plan on how to handle, how to take this compliance in quality management, quality system, correct? The quality management system. So these are the one where we can audit. These are the one we can make automation testing, and these are the one we need to process level we need to audit. The delivery level, not just in the final stage. Let's do the review in the every week. I mean every week or every milestone or every sprint. We will do that. So all this comes as part of quality management. Right? We'll go a deep dive. But at the moment we get a sense, no, the quality management is essential at the moment for compliance requirement, right? When you need
Right.
to have a plan for it. Now, we will exhaustively use the output, which is so there are two things in quality management. One is the process aspect, how you are actually paying attention to the process you do. The next one is you're paying attention to the deliverables which came out of the out of your system, correct? Now, the control quality focus on the deliverables. Okay, and you're going to check whether it is functional, whether are you, I mean, whatever that is defined as a functional requirement, it has to function or not. So what is this? I think should we go there? Okay, I'll touch upon. So what is functional requirement? Uh, like the website IRCTC, you know, right? In India, we
Mm-hmm.
have booking tickets. So IRCTC, I have as a user, I have to log into IRCTC and book the ticket. That is my requirement. It's a functional requirement. Non-functional requirement means no matter, it should be my, I should be able to access my site, or I should get response from my server within 10, within 1 millisecond. And this talks about accessibility, right? Yeah, and you say my site, when I access IRCTC, it should be up for 99.9% time, all the time. The uptime should be 99.9%. So all related to serviceability, okay, accessibility. My same site should be, I should be accessible to multiple browsers or multiple devices. That is accessibility. So functional requirements are what it is supposed to do. Non-functional requirements are additional attributes, okay, which like serviceability, accessibility, reliability. When there is something, site is down, how quickly I'm recovering from that. Okay, all this thing comes as non-functional requirement. So you will pay attention to both functional and non-functional. And so Swati, don't worry much on this now. It is our the next session. It will talk
Mhm.
about this functional and non-functional. Okay.
Sure.
Now, um, wherever you see you have something, just put in the chat, okay, that what quest query you have or anything, or something you feel like revisiting again, put in chat. But now functional and non-functional, we are just touching, it's a detailed topic, we need to go, okay. And I'm trying to we have this in the slide, I don't want to, I want to use this as a prompt to communicate, right? uh, we will have this in detail. There's a knowledge area for this, and there is another knowledge area for this alone, right, for the scope. Now, audit, we do the one important tip is we sometimes use audit from the external party also. Okay, if you're, I mean, this will help you to get an unbiased review. Correct. An external party will do an unbiased review on artifact. Now, I think we are done. Hmm. Okay, we also do sampling. Okay. So sampling means why we do sampling? Because practically, what is sampling? Basically, you take suppose you're manufacturing Nike shoes. There are 1 million Nike shoes. You don't have. It is impossible for you to go and verify all the Nike shoes. Correct. So what you do? You take a sampling. You just take a subset of that 1 million. You may just take 100 of that 1 million at random, and you're going to check whether is it defect free or is it having defects. So when I say defect, yes or no, when I'm answering these kind of questions, it's called attribute. Either it confirms to yes or not, it's called attribute. Okay, attribute sampling. Now variable sampling, any query on this, Swati?
No.
Okay, variable sampling is basically, see, when a doctor checks during Corona, people check your fear, I mean, sorry, your fever. Now, when it is conforming to between one particular level, like BP, they'll check whether between this 190 to 120, no problem. So that means a range is there. Okay. Wherever temperature also, they'll say there's a range between this and this. Okay, beyond that, we have to see. We have to take further action. So this is basically like a this temperature, this what is the speed and the time. All these things you need a measuring device. You agree? Like unlike your number of defects, it's easy to count. Wherever you can count, it's called attribute sampling. Wherever you cannot count, you need a measuring device, then you call it as variable. Then it's called as variable sampling, because you use continuous data. Any
Makes sense.
questions? But
No, I
Swati, I
mean, like
think
we did the. I mean, I did the attribute sampling and variable sampling, so we're good.
good. Okay. Okay, you're about aware about continuous data and discrete data, correct?
Right.
So continuous data, you use a measuring device like time and your clock, your speedometer, a thermometer. You
Mhm.
have to have a measuring device. Discrete data is you can count, you can classify, like gender, male, female, and if it's a night shift, evening shift, morning shift, weekend shift, you can just classify red ball, green ball. So wherever you do, you can classify a count is called discrete data. where you need a measuring device, you use variable or continuous data. So based on the data, you choose whether attribute sampling or variable sampling. Anyway, I thought I want to touch on quality, but anyway, we are together here. So that's it. We discuss all on this. We need to have a quality management in place. I mean, here you need to use QA output to confirm deliverables. So QA, quality control, is a process where internally you're ensuring that your customers are not seeing the defects. Means you are identifying the defect and you work out every way to avoid leakage of defects from you to customer. So this will help you. Yeah, naturally when when it reaches customer, the damage will be big. So this quality output is a prevention of leakage of defects to your customer, where you take initiative to internally check and you establish tolerance, you establish a clear quality management plan, and you bring in wherever external audits are possible, and you leverage QA tools, and and also you perform corrective action, preventive actions. You know this, what is corrective action and preventive action, no, Swati?
Yes, I mean, not
Okay.
like completely, but yes.
Okay, on a high level, anyway, this is again quality. On a high level, I'm telling you, corrective action is there's a mistake you saw, okay,
Mhm.
and you're driving. There's a so you mistake you saw, and you wanted to you do a defect repair. First, you do puncture, correct? You first service your
Yeah.
puncture, and next, you will not go in that road, or you will avoid going very corner of the road. That's a corrective action. Okay. Preventive action is you will call up your government authority and ask them to lay down the road properly, avoid you know, the stones that hit your tire will make puncture. So those are all preventive action. There are a lot of the preventive action is you wanted to avoid the issue, avoid the problems in future. Corrective action is you take some action as a process to fix that issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
We will have that in detail discussed. Okay, I think we are done on compliance. If you have any questions, or we'll move on.
No, I think, but the request is like, can we order the slides, please?
Order. So, okay. But actually, you will have a different copy. In essence, you will have a copy. You want to order in what manner, Swati?
No, no, like in a order, like what we went through. So we were like going back and forth, right? Like meaning for the
Okay.
compliance slides. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like it doesn't flow, meaning in my like
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
order. We are like going back and forth based on the topic we are covering. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be nice to have the flow because the thing is
In,
that we
in
have the
general, it is
record.
in order, Swati. In general, it is in order. So what I did is, see, because when the entire slides, 30 slides are just captured in one slide. Okay. Now I am just trying to sense where the additional inputs are need to be given based on your on our discussion. Like you say,
Mm.
this is. I feel more confidence that this side you're clear. This is not. So I'm just jumping and going on that in detail. Already, it's
Oh,
an
okay.
order.
Makes sense because I just want anyway. I have the recording. I mean, it's fine. It's
This is
just
in order, Swatik. This is in
okay.
order. See, I'll tell you,
Perfect.
this is actually in order, but this is the slide which changes
We
our order.
created. Yeah.
Because why should I focus something which you're already, this thing I need not focus too much.
Yeah.
Categorize compliance requirement, we categorize the problem. So, so what's the point in discussing too much? I thought it's self-explanatory for you. But
Yeah.
this requires some repetition. See, for example, the sampling. Once or twice if I repeat before the session. Now what happens? Anything on this you will be able to correlate and crack. And you go and say, okay, that day we discussed some day two. Okay. This is what you're bringing it again. Yeah. So let us go deep dive. So I felt that. Now, sorry, one more. We need
Mhm.
to, I'll do one thing. We'll have a marker here in our chat. Yeah, I will stick to the flow, but let us see. If you see that creating some challenge, I'll steer the flow. But my objective is wherever you need more help, because already the slides were, I mean, were given with the flow only. Okay, I
Okay,
just
thank you.
disrupted
I
the
mean,
flow
like for
based.
me, it's just
Mm,
so when I why I even asked is like when I'm going through, like reading
mm,
it through, the way I heard it. I mean, that's what see your brain has this memory, right? Like kind of like okay, I
yeah,
went
yeah.
through this thing, so that's why I was like asking. But I mean, for me, if I go to like your explanation and the things I already know, we can
Mm,
read it through. I mean, no
right.
problem.
But
Sorry.
the deck which you get it from our ProVenture LMS will be with definitely with the flow.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. That's
And
all.
one more, I've just disrupted. See, for example, I've added in. You can see more in upcoming slides. See what happens. Uh, we got. We are having our own version. We are having a version given by PMI. So we have to go and stick to PMI's version. This is PMI version. Okay. So in some places we wanted to add more detail. So we will
Mhm.
add one more slide in addition. You got it, no?
I
So
got it. I
this
got it from that
is
one.
our
I got
slide.
it from the beginning of the our classes, right?
We
Even
are
when
also using
we are
this
doing the
is
meanwhile we are making up some slides in between while you're
yeah.
explaining it to me. So that's what I thought. Like when we are going to the recording sessions, it's already
Okay.
there, but just for ease
Yeah,
of
yeah, sure.
use. But forget I
Yeah.
asked. Like let's continue.
Right, right. And see, the point is sometimes in the upcoming we have. I mean, I've seen. I've just clubbed many things. See, for example, this is a slide on version one of PMI. This one. This is
Uh-huh.
slide version latest version given at PMI. See the missing here.
Mhm.
Okay, this is same is organized in a different manner.
Got it.
Okay, and but I want to use this both because I will just try with this. Yeah, I feel pulse like if Sakti needs a different perspective, and then okay, let me add this. This is what given by our team. Okay, this makes you clear. We want to see all these things are one by one sorted. Right. Okay, so we'll move on to the next one, Swati. Just give me 1 minute. I'm opening that. Mm, notes. Opening. Right. So I'm okay. I'm not presenting. Okay. So the next task is evaluate and deliver project benefits and value. Okay. So if you look at the term, yeah, am I presenting? Yeah. So if you look at the term, the project benefits and value. In principle, project as a whole individually cannot deliver benefits and value. It will just give capability. It will just give the the outcome. Okay, the aggregate of outcome will become as a benefit. You agree, right? So your program is a one standalone. The project cannot be correlated with the benefit because benefit is the term which we use it from the strategical point of view or the business value point of view. So project will give some capability. Any project, so it will deliver a result. Okay, it will deliver an outcome. That outcome you have to do something to get that benefit. You cannot just do a product project and get the benefit. You agree with me, no? You also
Right.
do have to do. See, for example, operations. You develop a product. That software product, just by a project doing that software project will not do. You need to take initiatives of operations. You need to do a market study. You need to do all other the periphery of work that you need to. Only when then that will aggregate as a benefit. Now,
Mm-hmm.
here, this is a prompt for the project manager. You need to evaluate how much, what is the stakeholders ask and what is stakeholder expecting as a value and benefit and what are the steps you take to um, deliver the value, evaluate and deliver the value. That's a whole objective. That's a whole big picture of this particular um, task. So we are in task B, means topic in the exam content outline. There are a couple of tasks, no? Task A and task B, C. We are talking in business environment. In that, we are talking about the task B. Right, Swati?
Yes.
And we have covered something on task 3 and task 4 also in our earlier session. But
Right.
that will take less time. Now, see, when I say evaluate and deliver project benefits and value, first I need to be aware what is the benefit, and I need to be aware what is the benefit expected from the project, and what is the value expected from the project, right? So we use couple of tools, uh, and we deliver a few things. Let's get into detail. Um, this all these things we are going to cover, and let's go one by one. Let's categorize, gets from the bird's eye view, and then move on in detail. Now this is the bird's eye view. I do evaluate and deliver business value. Okay, so I need to keep into consideration the benefits and the benefits management plan. Let's see
Mm-hmm.
what all. I'll just give a big picture. I need to see what is the benefit and what is the benefit management plan, or come out with the benefit management plan. Now, this benefit management plan can come from your sponsor, or people who who sign you to take up a project. It comes from a business analyst. As a project manager, you are not owning benefit management, but at least you need to consult that benefit management plan. Okay. Now, you need to be aware of business value, and you need to check whether are you doing an agile or a adaptive or a predictive approach. Based on that, you need to deliver the business value. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you also have to select, evaluating and delivering business, the business value, benefit and value is not, it's an ongoing process. But certain things you do at the start of the project, like before you pick the project, you're going to say, is it economically feasible? Is
Mm-hmm.
it, which one is economically good? Okay, you do various mathematical analysis. We are going to discuss on this. Okay. And you will also use computers for simulating your um, um, what to say, estimation. Now, let me repeat. This is a big picture. The what it tells as a concept is a project manager need to understand the benefit. He need to consult the benefit management plan. He should be, and we need to ensure the project manager understands this project is going to benefit as what. Okay, that you get it from your benefit management plan. Now, a project manager also need to know the business value, what customer likes to have in this initiative, what an employee likes to have in this initiative. He need to understand the value. Okay, we're going to go in depth. I'm going to give a big picture one more time. And based on the benefit, the project nature, and the value that customer wants, you will decide whether to take a agile approach or a productive approach. Okay, that is one. The other part is, it's not only in the execution you need to evaluate and deliver benefit. It's also, you need, right from the start of the project, you need to, even for selecting a project, there are a couple of projects given to you. You want to select, you can select one. So you need, when you need to do some methodical analysis to say, I will select this project because I see more benefit. So there are some ways to measure the benefit. Got it? To analyze which one will be more benefit, which project is more benefit. This talks about project selection aspect. Now, in certain cases, your simple maths may not work. You need to use some tools, computerized tools, to make a decision for you. So those there we use simulations. Now, the big picture is given. It may, you may see a little hazy, because let's connect the dots. I think I've given, I tell you there are some 5 dots in this. Okay, you need to connect. The 5 dots are there. Now what are the dots? We are going to discuss in detail, and then we are going to connect the dots. Clear?
Right.
Right. Now, let us talk about the first guy, the business. Okay, this guy will see business value. See, in short, the business value is not this just the monetary value we are expecting. It is we are sensitive to customer satisfaction. We are sensitive to customer. Are we giving it to customer? And we are sensitive to shareholders. Correct. And also we need to take care of employees' moral, employee satisfaction, and from the supplier point of view, suppose you have someone as a supplier, you have to have a long bilateral relationship. Correct. This is the value. This value is not just a monetary value. It is beyond the monetary value, where what from customer eyes, what is they expect, from shareholder eyes what they expect, and you're trying to understand their expectation and try to balance the expectation. Clear?
Mhm.
This is on the business value. We're going to see the definition, but what it conveys, I want to tell you. Any questions, Saraswati, on this point?
No, I mean, like, I
Okay,
understand the business value in any limelight, right? Like, yeah.
beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. Now, let's go back a little up. Benefit. See, when I know the value, and I also have to understand the benefit. Benefit can be two things. One is, again, the tangible benefit they call intangible benefit. Okay. Now, is there, yeah, is there a tangible? Let me just see. Maybe we have that, we'll have that discussed. Okay. So it's not there, but I'll tell you. I will use this.
Tangible is like you can measure something, right?
Exactly, exactly. Same. See, it's all we know. The only thing is, what is the language of PMBOK? We have to correlate. And something miss, we just have to take a simple. Okay, so I call benefit. Benefit, I can think of two things. One is tangible and intangible. Tangibles are objective. You can count. You can definitely count. You can definitely see the values in numbers. Correct. It's monetary. You can think of. Intangible is more on customer loyalty. Okay,
Yeah.
and it is subjective in nature. You see SAT. You like a chart you give, right? You use like a chart to say whether I like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And employee morale. You use ordinal scale. Okay, and yeah, so these are the quick typical examples for intangible benefits.
Mm-hmm.
These intangible benefits, okay, you're going to list it down. And what is this BMP? These are the benefit list. Benefit list will have tangible, intangible, clear, right? Now you have something called benefit management plan. This will tell you how I'm going to achieve my benefit. Whether some benefits, right? Like for example, uh, between Hyderabad and Vijayawada, between Hyderabad and Chennai, there are 20 toll gates, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, for example, if I think L&T is the one who does it, right? L&T, is it so?
Yeah,
L&T is
yeah.
the one. See, if it is L&T, they will look for this benefit. They will prepare that benefit management plan. So they will account for two things: whether am I going to get the benefit only later after completing all the 20 tolls construction, or I just do it for the first two toll and start minting money. So benefit can be phase wise. Okay. Or the benefit can be, you can reap the benefit at the end of the project. You agree with me? So there are two
Correct.
aspects also. So time frame of realizing the benefit, and this is one thing we need to consider. And we need to consider what are the targeted tangible and intangible benefits and alignment. See, for example, you may benefit a lot, but you may list down a lot of benefits, but what is aligned to your management, your strategic objective is important. Correct.
Makes sense.
So for academic industry, I mean, there is a college. They have a mission to be the best college in the world, or the best college in your city. Now, someone will say, okay, your college people are smart. Why not you start a software company? No, that's not aligned to their strategic objective. They say we want to be good in the this one. Even if the benefit, there are so many benefit comes. We have our own way or viewing what is important, how we can give it to the society. So it's more on strategic alignment. Benefits that you list, whether how far it's strategically aligned. You're going to mention that it can be a different scale. You can say it can be an ordinal scale, like 0 to 10. Either way, you will propose how to represent that alignment. Okay, time frame, owner, you need to assign a owner, and you will also mention who is a recipient of the benefit. You will also use metrics to track, and you will also identify risk associated in achieving the benefit. On this part, benefit is clear, Asmati.
Right. Yes.
See, here we're going to go through the slide, but when we just deep dive in each, and then going to the slide will become fun. Okay. Right here. Agile. See, now you know some, that means in L&D project they want incremental benefit. In our example of L&D, they want increment benefit. They can't wait for all the 20 talks to get say and then you launch and then only you can use. No. So they use appropriate approach, an incremental approach. And so it's any approach. It's not necessarily agile or productive. It can be any list, any development methodology. Okay. Now here we need to, if it's adaptive, I wanted to introduce two terms here. I think you should be familiar. MVP you heard, no? Minimum
Yeah,
viable
I heard.
product.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So MVP and MBI. Now, Swati, from your perspective, okay, let us see. You need to, based on your development life cycle, you're going to plan your releases. You're going to plan your releases, iterations, releases. What are you going to deliver? And then you will also take into account MVP and MBI. Now, what is MVP and MBI? You know the difference?
I know
You can
MVP,
comment
like
on that. Yeah.
minimum viable product. Like, so when we are um like in the agile approach,
Yeah.
it's like the request is huge and then it takes six
Mm.
months but we have like a 2 week sprint. So we break
Mm.
them into a viable chunk every release. Like maybe for the first time we just only set up the uh, like when your customer login page, right? Just when you set up the login credentials, they don't see everything but they see something. So like that, like
Yeah.
you broken into every time you release something, they have like there you're making the day like their life, customer life, or based on
Right.
which project you're making it better.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
MBI, I actually don't know.
Okay. So simple. They are very closely MVI, sorry, MVP, MBI. They are also called minimum marketable release (MRR). Okay. So all these are all a little closely related, and there is no explicit difference defined anywhere. What is the difference between MVP and MBI? But on a high level, you can take this. Okay. MVP is MBA is for sure you will create a value to customer. Okay, customer, like you said, is more of MBI. See,
I mean,
because
I know
minimum
minimum
business
business
increment.
increment. Yeah.
Okay, for sure. You say, I will get the login page ready, guys. You can start. Okay, but you cannot just give login page and he will not. I can
Exactly.
correlate. Go back to the same Swiggy example. Customer will be able to find the menu and book a restaurant. That is my first Swiggy deliverable. And customer will be able to find the menu and order it with cash on delivery. And the third thing, you will introduce with payment gateway. You will introduce with wallets. Okay. So all these things, or you're doing it in an increment where each release is making sense. Not only making sense, customer can start using it. That is MBI,
Mm-hmm.
minimum business increment. A customer can start using it and he can see the value realized in chores at least. One by one, he'll start seeing the value. But MVP, sometimes you need to do hypothesis validation. Okay. And you don't have time. You will do a bare release, a very bare minimum release, right? Those are all MVP. And I mean, when you say MVP, in my view, It is more focused on the hypothesis validation, exploratory in nature. Okay, you customer is not clear how to do it. You go, you make something valuable. You show it him. This is how it's going to be valuable. Okay, when we just elaborate on this, it will become valuable. When we deep dive on this, it's valuable. Okay, and from the value point of view, MBA is more than MVP. You got it? You got my point?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and remember, whenever you come across a word, I don't see you will in exam you will wrestle between MVP and MBA. That's my thought. I've never heard of it. Okay, now if at all you landed in some trouble where they have to select between MVP and MBA in exam. Okay, now you look for exploratory. You look for hypothesis validation. You look for learning as one of the key thing to do. Make that as MVP. I mean, map it to MVP. Right, Swati?
Right.
During exam. And you see, MVP's output is what MBA is going to use it in many in few cases. See, to customer, you say this is how I'm going to. I this is my login page. You give him a demo and you give him some value, and you say, let me follow through it. So all the learnings of MVP will go as an input to your MBI.
Makes sense. So what you're saying is like what we decide as a minimum viable product, we show it to the business and the business can agree. It's like it's increment to the
Mm.
what they needed.
Yeah,
That is what we are saying is an MBI. Makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. And so this one, anyway, we have a slide on that, and we'll also discuss in detail in the agile portion in detail. But say that's all the data you need to get it non-linear. You will get non-linear, but always when you hear the term again, next slide or next class, you hear the term what we discussed earlier. Now immediately jump, go and correlate how far it's related. Tell me here. That's how easily it will you will remember. Now, the next interesting thing is during project selection, you use some metrics to select which project is good, which is going to benefit you a lot. So you do some feasibility study. Right? The feasibility can be what do you say? An economic feasibility study or non-economic feasibility study. Non-economic feasibility study is what? Like I will uh, capture various financial metrics and say which project I can select. There are four projects. I will capture the. I'll make financial estimates on all these things, and I'm going to say which is going to be benefit to me. Okay. For that, there are a couple of mathematical techniques we will discuss. The non-economic items are what? Like see how far it is strategically aligned, and what is the feasibility of doing it. Let me just write here. See, project selection, I will do two important thing. One is um, economic feasibility study. And see, this is not a general term. I mean, this is not a PMBOK English, okay? Non-phys. This is for our own English.
Or
Okay.
general English.
General English. So we understand. I mean, I don't know Telugu. Otherwise, I need to learn from my
You
wife.
can
Okay.
you
So,
can tell me in Tamil because too many
that's good.
movies I watched.
Oh, that's good. So, um, I should take help from my wife going forward. Now, economic feasibility study. Fine. Here, here you do present value, net present value, IRR, BCR, ROI. All are child's play. I'll tell you. Nothing to worry. These are the five English terms. So you look for five metrics, one or five metrics to decide which project you can select. That's those
Mm-hmm.
are all the economic feasibility study. Non-economic feasibility comes. What all you do? You're going to prepare a table, and you're going to say strategic alignment. You're going to check whether this project is strategically aligned or not. Correct. This project, whether do we have a skill set to do? To do. Okay, is it what do you say? Do we have infrastructure? All these things you will check from the non-economic feasibility point of view. Correct. Now this seem to be straightforward. I don't have to worry too much. Okay, we will add up more as we move forward. Then the same slide to connect the dots. So non-economic feasibility, we make all this study and we'll add up more as and when if you have something more. It is basically not a hard rule. You can do. I mean, based on domain specific, you can do. We can start accumulating this, adding this data. Now let's talk about economic feasibility study. Now, can I finish this area and then come back? Okay, let's better. Okay, 1 second, Swati. Mm, okay. So just if you pay attention for 10 minutes at length, okay, and
Mhm.
prompt me if you have any query, we can learn this concepts very quickly. Okay.
Sure.
Now, but anyway, you are from chemical engineering, so better. It's but anyway, you've gone to this is all more finance terms. Okay, so you should be aware. Then no problem. So it's very difficult for IT, right? So we have something called present value. What is this present value? You remember? You know what is present value by chance?
Mhm.
You heard of
Mhm.
it?
No,
Okay.
I heard maybe, but not like remember it like any
Okay.
formula related anything.
Okay. Okay. Now, when you don't have to remember the formula, but I'll tell you what's the concept. See, suppose you have $100 in your bank, in your in hand, $100 you have. Okay. You go to a financier or what do you say, a banker. Okay, and they say I'll give you 10%. Okay, and after 1 year I'll give you 110.
Yeah.
Okay, now what is the meaning? We can start. So this is my investment, and this is my rate in percentage, and this is my future cash.
Mm.
Now I'm asking you a question. My future cash is 110. This has become 110 because I earned $10. Correct. That means how much I earned? $10. Correct. Earned is
Mm-hmm.
$10. Earned is $10. So the money which is 110 in future is actually the money which is 100 today. You
Right.
agree with me?
Inflation. It's calculating the inflation.
Yeah. So calculating the inflation and any other, I mean, the worth of whatever that you buy tomorrow as 110, for you can buy today with $100 itself. Okay,
Yeah.
and no, put the same statement in different perspectives. I think the same word. That's what they play. Even if you look at no the definitions and all, but thing is they twisted something and you have to pay little attention. See what is the value then? The current value of future sum of money given a specific rate of return.
Mm.
Okay, this is one definition. Okay, but all the definition is going to mean the same thing. But let's rephrase in multiple ways so that we never forget. Future it's $110. The, the current value of future money is my present value.
Okay.
The current value of future money is my present value. Okay.
I mean, like,
Now,
in other words, it's like whatever you have, like today, right?
yeah. See, whatever I have it today is what they're saying. I will give you more, and but it doesn't make sense to us because I am happy today with the $100, and what is the point in just getting $110 1 year later?
Yeah.
If I get more, it's fine. So that means if I give you the present value, right? The present value of future $110 is what? Present value of future 110 is $100. You agree with me, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Take the same thought and put it in the formula. So future present value is future value, which is your 110
110
divided by 1 plus R is your percentage.
percentage.
N
Zero.
is your number of years.
Yeah.
So your PMA example is here. So if you need $3,000 in 3 years, $3,000, this is my future money. And if I get, if I was telling, I was told that I have 8% given for that.
Mhm.
But they will also add different percentage. No, apart from this, there's a different component which go plus and minus on your future value. This is the rate of return. FD is different. Then other components are different. Like what you get money, you make get plus or minus. Now 3,000 is the future money and 0.8% is the interest. Now apply this formula for 3 years.
Present value is 2,381.
Now
Future
this is
3 years,
only
that's what they're saying.
exactly. See, that means you are going to give me some 2381 rupees only in future. Now that means another project comes out with more future value, which is better. Sorry, more present value, which is better. I This is about project A. Okay. Now I do another project B that is having 2500 as present value, which would be better.
2,381.
Oh no, Swati. So this is my one project. There is another project which say the present value I will give you five. It comes to 2500. Project A is 2381. Project B is 2500. Which is
But
better?
what we are saying, sorry, maybe misunderstanding, but like, if you have 2,500 now, in
Hmm.
future they're going to give you 3,000,
Hmm.
but your
Okay.
present.
No, Swati, I miscommunicated. See, this is my present value. This is
Okay.
my future value. My present value is 2300 today for the money which I'm going to get it for 3000. Correct. Now, you do some similar math, and this project A comes with 2381 as present value. Another project, after doing some mathematical calculation, you get value as 2500. I'm talking about present value. Okay, let me go in this way. This is my project A, Swati.
No,
Okay,
makes
my
sense.
project A.
Makes sense.
Mm.
I no,
So
I got.
another, the present value of project B is 2000. Okay, 500. What is the present value of project A now? It is 2381. Correct. This one. I'm referring to this. This project A. Now, higher the present value is better for you. After some math, I'm telling you, after some math, you got this.
Mhm.
Mm. So I thought, let's not go and do reverse engineering to that. So that's why I was giving this one. See, after some math like this, you get present value of B as 2500. Don't you see my present value is higher, the better for us? Or any clarification here?
What in a sense of present? I think I got it, but like just
Think through what's
the
the problem. Let's sort out.
what is, I mean, like, see, I understood the present value. What is it
Mm,
for future and all? So, in
mm,
other words, like, tell me what is the present value? It's like what that 2,000, I have 2,500 today. If I spend
mm,
on that project,
mm.
I'll make $3,000, or that is your present value, or
Ah,
you
okay, okay.
have like 2,381 now. Even I do the
Mm,
project, I make 3,000. So spending 2,381, making 3,000 is better. Spending 2,500, making 3,000 better. So at least I'm saving that 100 and odd $20
mm, mm,
in my
mm,
project, right? Like,
mm.
so spending 2,381, getting 3,000 better comparative to spending 2,500 and getting 3,000. I mean,
Okay,
I
got
think
it.
I answered
See, I
completely other way
understand the essence of their trouble. I understand the essence. See, this 2381 is I think you are correlating with this example. If I invest 100 and future close. So what about the next year? See, suppose the next year you spent again only 2,300, correct? Like in our language, go back to this simple example. The next year it will be 1,400. Sorry, 1,050, 150, 150. Here, the year two.
Mm-hmm.
This is year two, and this is year one. Okay. Now the investment which you make will is different from the present value of future money. That's what I wanted to try to indicate. My investment is still one time dead, one time. See, you always associate with bank multiple years, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the product they sell it, correct? So your investment is only on 100 in the first year, and you get 10% rate. Your future cash flow on the year one is one is on year one is this, and the year two. That means for the same 100, I get 110 in the first year and I get 150 in the second year. That's how the mutual product and all will come now. The more you retain, they'll give
Right.
more money.
Yeah.
Now you have to do present value calculation of this. So what do you do? You're going to add the present value for year one,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to add the present value of year two. Now, then you will realize the present value is different from the investment money. Investment money is different. Only for the first year, investment money and present value are same.
Mm-hmm.
Second year, your investment money is always $100.
Okay.
Got it, no?
Got it. Well, maybe I have to read it through again, but I'm making my mental notes writing it down.
Mm, mm, mm. Okay, so I want to understand where exactly is your. So this, I think your confusion, which you indicated, like because today 2,300, and so why should I put 2,500 get 3,000? It's not 3,000 we get. The future value will be different, no?
Yeah,
So
if
when I
that is
get,
different, see, the thing is like if that is different, then it's a different story. And then how
it
many
should be different.
years? It's dependent on all the three factors, right? What is your rate of return? What is your future
Mm,
value? So examples like for me, the way I understood it, if we are spending 2,500 and making
mm,
5,000, that is better, right? Like
mm,
relatively.
mm,
So
mm. Correct.
I
That's
get
what,
it.
Swati. That's what you got it. You got it. Actually, let's stick to the word what you said. See, future value, as you said, there are three parameters. Okay, to decide whether which is good or not. So, present, future value, years, and percentage rate. Correct. These are the
Mhm.
three things. You will come out to say present value. Now, when the future value is 5,000 and that makes it 2,500, that means present value is good, no?
Yes.
That's how it is actually. See, look at the formula.
That's what the formula said. I was like literally going with your $100
Let's.
example. That made me
Uh,
little bit confused, I guess.
oh, okay. So sometimes no, like well, let the confusion happen because we need to understand the difference between the investment we make and the value we get out of the investment. There's a difference. Okay, and that's why we see that for that simple example there. So I'll tell you. Future love you just said the present value depends on three parameters. Higher the future value is better.
Yes.
We just quoted 5,000, right? Now, your percentage and the number of years, both are in a denominator,
Mm-hmm.
correct? Now, the more money when your bankers say, I will give you for the given tenure, that means your present value is higher,
Right. Yeah,
right?
because in future like your money is getting multiplied.
Multiplied and more, that's say, okay, when you're giving only $110 in 1 year, okay, this is bad. Now when you say no, I'll give you $150 in 2 years, means okay, that means they do business in between. Okay, they'll mobilize the fund, they'll do business in between, and they give the benefit to the customer, like investment customer. Now you see that this is going to be useful art. So year one, it's not going to benefit me much, but year two, I see a benefit. Now with this, we'll be able to understand there's a difference in the word invest money or and the future value money which I get. If I assess, translate back to the present value, if the value is higher, it's better for me because this value gone high for the same tenure. So what is the same business? It's same number. What is this? 1 plus 0.08, no? Rather, you call it more percentage and more tenure. But your numbers, if it is high, it's good for you because it's directly proportional to your future value, correct? If
Right.
future value they give more, means your present value is better. So think of this sort. The present value, whenever you get you don't have to deep dive this. People just say formula and go. Okay, but I'm telling you, in exam you don't have to need this, but for the sake of understanding, you need to understand like present value is higher the better. This is for the exam, and this is the formula. Present value is future value divided by 1 plus the rate of interest to the power years, number of years. Okay, Swati.
Right.
Now slowly bring in one more term here. This is, where is my duplicate? Okay, here. This is focusing clearly on present value. Now let's focus on net present value. See, the same when you net present value is when you deduct, okay, the present value of the inflow minus the present value of outflow. It is called net present value. What's the difference between present value and net present value? Present value is directly the future value, present value of future money. Okay, in future, when I get that money, what is my worth? Net present value is you need to do one thing: add all outflow, inflow money, add all inflow money minus investment you make. Okay, now the advantage of net present value, see, it's not like every company follow their own ways. It's not that they follow only this or this. Okay, this is various terms. Each company follow their according to their financial members opt to use different one. So net present value will bring that you did. Present value will not bring that factor, and
Hmm.
that is why you had that confusion, correct?
Right. Hello? Can you hear me?
Swati.
Yes. I lost you for a minute, I guess.
I don't know why. Yeah. 1 second. I think I'm sharing or
Yeah, yeah, I can see your mouse moving, but it was like I
Swati, am I
couldn't.
sharing something?
You are sharing. Your mouse is moving on the FPV equal to F, the present value formula only. Slide 24. And now it stopped moving.
Swati,
I'm not able to hear you. You're breaking up.
God. Uh, Swati, I changed my network. Hello, Swati. Swati, I changed my network. Is it better now?
It is. I mean, like for a minute I lost you, and then I
No,
could
no.
hear you breaking.
I just changed my network. I don't know.
Okay.
Right, going back. Okay, just two more to go. Then we'll take a short break. Now I'll tell you. Present value, you clear? You understand what is net present value, Swati? I think there's a lot of
Yes.
disconnect
Yes.
speaking.
I
Here is where
actually.
you here is where you bring in your term on your investment. You're deducting your investment in your net present value.
Right.
Okay. I'm trying to pick a easy. I mean, there are some websites for you to directly calculate. Okay. 1 second, Swati. I'm just giving you one calculator. Where is my share? Okay. So this is one website to help you calculate the net present value. I'll share you the URL to you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now we are going to understand your present value and net present value. So this talks about this help you calculate your net present value. Okay. Assume um, the initial investment is $500 for me. Okay. And the discount rate which I see is around 10 percentage. Okay, 10 percentage. Yeah, this is my 10 percentage. The initial investment is $500 and the discount rate is 10%. Now after 1 year I will get around 570. Assume 570 I get.
Mm-hmm.
Now the net present value is 18.8. So what does that happen is I'll calculate the present value of 570 minus the 500. The present value of the is I will calculate using the formula that FV by 1 plus R power 100, right?
Mm-hmm.
1 plus R power N.
Yeah.
Okay. So here is the net present value calculator. And I found it useful. Maybe if you want to, anytime when you want to do some mock or something, you want to use this to quickly calculate NPV, you can use this. Okay. Now, NPV is what I deduct my initial investment. That's a different NPV is creating. NPV is having. Okay. Now there is something, we'll introduce a term IRR. Okay. Now, can you tell me I mean, we need to see at what, okay. So, Swati, present value, net present value, sure, clear?
Yeah.
Good. Now, there is something called IRR,
In
internal rate
invest internal rate of
of
return.
return. A simple concept. Which percentage will make this NPV zero? That is your IRR. So
Mm-hmm.
it is an iterative calculation. You can't just do with one. You need a computer or simulator to do that. Now we are doing it manually. Okay. Why we want to do manually? So that you understand what is IRR for sure. I mean, you will memorize IRR for sure. IRR is a one where your net present value will become zero. Okay. The rate at which your net present value becomes zero. Now let me, instead of 10%, let me put 20%.
Mm-hmm.
It is minus 25. Means at 10 I'm getting 18, but at 20 I'm getting minus 25. Now that means uh, I need to play around to make it zero. It's 8.9.
Put
Now I
15.
15, huh? Minus 4, then it's
Okay.
14.
14.5 something.
10.5, 2 point. Just you're close by. You're right. So this is your IRR. IRR is 14%.
Mm.
The rate at which your net present value becomes zero.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Swati? Now, just we will go without, what do you say, disturbing the flow. We'll go directly to the PPT and walk through the slides what PMI had given. Now, where is my, yeah. Mm. Now here, the present value we saw, the current value of future sum of money or stream of cash flows given a specific rate of return. We saw this, we are seeing present value higher the better. And it's a quick example for us. And here we say when I get 2500 as a present value, because my future value is more, in that case, higher the present value is better. Net present value is, what did we speak? You find the present value of all the cash inflow, deduct the investment. So net present values calculate PV of all inflow minus investment. Okay.
All the cash outflow minus present.
Inflow.
Okay.
Oh, okay. You are saying this one, no? Like, say whatever net present value should be higher. Like, the higher the net present value is better for you.
Yeah.
Higher the inflow, and higher the NPV is better. Now, IRR. It is the rate at which your net present value of all cash flow equal to zero.
Mm.
Okay. The other, so now, couple of exam tips. But before that, I wanted to tell, this otherwise called as discounted cash flow of return.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Discounted cash flow of return. That's your IRR. Now, certain exam tips here. Mm, yeah. In your exam, okay. First the tip and then exam. Okay. First revision, then exam tip. So your PV, NPV is denoted by dollar value. Agreed? Huh? It's clear?
Mm-hmm.
And your IRR is defined by percentage. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to see to that all your PV, NPV, IRR should be all above all PV, NPV, IRR, higher the better. Project A is having this, project B is having this. So you should see you should select higher the better.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions, Swati, here? In your
No.
exam, if you're given more than, in an exam, if you're given more than this one, what happening? Font. Right, Swati. Now, any questions here? I'm expecting one question.
No.
What if they mix in exam? Right.
What is?
What, what if they mix these PV, NPV, IRR in your exam? Which one you need to select? That part you should be also reading. So I
Okay.
said in PV, NPV, IRR, PV and PV are defined in terms of dollar value. IRR is defined in terms of percentage, but your PV, NPV, IRR should be higher the better. That is our ask, correct? That's higher the better. Okay. Now, what if we get a situation where we have PV and NPV mixed in our question? Which one to select?
PV
Right.
and PV mixed in any meaning?
One
Like
case.
which one?
Like for example, Swati, project A. The PV of project A, they give as 1000. PV of project B, they give you as 4000. NP
You're
of
typing
NP.
something?
Oh, yes, Sati. What not happening, huh?
No, it's the
Ma-
page. It's I think it's frozen.
no, no, my God. I'm writing the same table only. I'm doing it again.
Okay. Till now that it was stuck on the NPV page definition.
Oh, I didn't realize it. Actually, I thought why response is low. I was feeling probably no break. Why response from Swati is down. Okay, now
No, it
present.
was.
Got it. Got it. See, the present value of A, project A is 2000, that's given to you, and present value of project B is given as 4000, and net present value of project C is given as, sorry, of project C is given as 500. Which one do you select? Which project will you select?
The NPV.
Because you're factoring in the investment part. This
Yeah.
is more accurate.
Yeah.
Got it, no? Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm just, see, okay, a little variant so that you should not take chances to leave this kind of question in your exam. And
Maybe I
my
have
net
to do
present value is, so which one will you select?
NPV.
D is project D you will select, correct?
Correct.
Very good.
I am actually literally and think I have to study this PV and PV
Because
IRR.
it happens. See, this the whole objective is you need to make one revision, okay, and ask uh, more query on this. Then it's solved. Say this is you're not a finance guy, right? So you will have a little challenge. But in exam, this is what this slide is what will be in exam. You don't have to study more. In exam, this is what you will see in the exam. I mean, you will not, I mean, there's no need for a calculator. Even that formula you need not put. You will not
Yeah,
have a
but
solution.
I'm just for understanding purposes,
Understanding,
not
yes, yes. Do a little
implementation.
good R&D. That is
Yeah.
good. Say IRR is in
Zero?
5%. Hmm? When IRR is higher, the better. See, for example, in another scenario, I get IRR. It means no matter what else is given, select the project with IRR
Mm-hmm.
for project E. Okay. So I repeat, PV, NPV, IRR, all should be, all is higher the better. PV and NPV are just given you in monetary value terms. Yep, IRR is given in usually in a percentage terms. Now, when you get PV and NPV, no matter even only one project is given in NPV, select that NPV project. And if you are given more than one NPV and PV, select the project which is having highest NPV or higher NPV. If you have a combination of PV, NPV, IRR, just go and select the highest IRR given. Even if you have given one, tick that. Am I clear, Swati? Is it clear, Swati?
I was blabbering on mute. I understood from the exam point of view, but for
Hmm.
me, I actually have to read it. For me, it's always I have to understand the basics, na. So I'll read it.
See, when you read basics and suppose you try to listen to the lecture what we discuss. If you see issue, just prompt it. Uh,
Sure, I
okay,
will. I
it
will.
will.
I
So
mean,
and
can I get your email ID, Ravi? If that is okay, I can email it to you.
Fine. So what yeah, yeah, I can share the ID. What I'll do is there is one more ID, and I will request Sandeep to share it to you, and we'll also see whether one collaboration space we can do. We can use it like in your MS Team or Google Drive or something. I'll talk to Sandeep today and request for that. Now the chat window, no. Can you
I
see
saw
one?
TBD RTM.
No, whenever, even there's a good practice we follow in our organization. I'll tell you, I don't know whether it's going to helpful for you. Whenever there is a meeting, no, I will ask everyone to post their action items on them. In the sense, each one will you take this, you take this, you take this. We'll tell them, right? But I don't know whether they are sure that they have taken, they are understood the action item properly. So I request them to chat their action item that got discussed. So this will have two objectives. One is whether they have understood their action item is clear. Okay, you will get clarity whether my team has understood my action item clearly or not. You will get to know. Correct. So you can use this tip during a meeting, for the juniors.
Mm-hmm.
Now for us, no, we will use it to capture queries wherever we need revisions, revisit. We'll use that. We'll retrieve the chat, and what I'll do, suppose any query you ask, right? I'll do a deep dive and come back to you with additional input apart from the regular training input that we have. Hmm?
Sure.
So I understand you wanted to focus on present value, those things. When you do research, okay, if you're stuck somewhere, just post it to me, and I will start also contributing for that. Right? Maybe little delayed response, but you can count on my support.
Sure. I
Right?
mean, for me,
Yeah. Oh, I think voice down. Mm,
can you
right.
hear me better now?
No, better, Swati. Now I'm able to hear. Okay. Swati, we'll move on. You were saying something. Shall we move on?
Yeah, we are good. Good.
Okay.
Next thing,
There are a
yes.
few more terms I wanted to introduce. This can be done quickly. Okay. There's something called. Okay. Let me go and map. We are in slide 31. Let's go and see where we were. We saw this, and we saw this. We also
We are
discussed this.
we are at this one.
Yes.
Analysis, ROA, and PVIRR, and
Yeah.
yes.
So we discussed on this. So benefit cost analysis is a ratio of benefit with respect to cost. Okay, for a project initiative. For example, for my project, if I invest $100, but the benefit I get is $110, higher the better. Benefit cost is basically a straight ratio, benefit divided by cost. So higher the better should be, right? No, when you see a term by mistake, cost benefit ratio, be careful. That is lower the better. No,
Mm-hmm.
you're correct, right? You have to be paying attention to the term. BCR is clear, benefit cost ratio is clear, but when they put cost by benefit, be careful. That should be lower the better. Always
Yeah.
look for benefit parameter. Okay. Now we saw on this, and there is a mathematical models. Suppose in certain situations you see. That a mere simple calculations with Excel or this meant will not work. You need to have your a big sophisticated computers for simulations. So those where Monte Carlo comes into picture. So Monte Carlo took its name because it's a gambling. To predict the result in the gambling, it was used in casino. Okay, those algorithms. Now this is used for our project management. The algorithms that were used there, it is basically you have a situation. I'm giving you one example so that you will be able to correlate. What will decide your mileage of the car? Your mileage of the car decided by many factors. Your size of the car, your weight of the car, the tire pressure in the car, okay, what kind of fuel it is, driving habits, correct, and the road conditions. All these things will attribute to the mileage of the car. Now the problem is you can't have only one definition, one input. Like you can't say if my car pressure is 32, if my car weight is 500 kg, if my I mean if the car size is of this I mean this volume, I can get the benefit. You can I can get the mileage of this. You can't be certain because there is a factor range of input factor. You agree with me? There is a range of input factor which will impact your output. You understood the situation, Swati?
Yes.
It is not this straight. You have a milk, you add 1 teaspoon of sugar, you get the taste
Right.
of sugar. Correct? You add 2 more teaspoon, you will get more. It will become like a what do you say?
It's
Uh,
not tasty. It's not worth it, kind of a thing.
no, it will become a sweet. Okay, like it's like your milk sweet. Okay. Well,
Yes.
so the point is, we that is an easier thing to for you to go and analyze. I add a parameter and I get this output because you can directly correlate. But
Yes.
there are many multiple parameters. Each parameter is having a range of inputs. Okay. My tire pressure, I need to check for 30, 32, 40, 42. Okay. That way. So this is basically for the range of uh, input. I wanted to know how, I mean, I wanted to know the estimate. Okay. Take the same example, correlate it for a project. Each project, suppose a big project you're going to launch, you're going to get, you're going to prepare an estimate. So they will say optimistic, pessimistic, and most likely. You heard of this term?
Yes.
When I get optimistic, pessimistic, and most likely, that means I have some 10 activities. Each one will give that particular, oh, that those three estimates. Now, this Monte Carlo, what it'll do, it'll take all the activity, put various combinations, run its algorithm some 10,000 times, and give a consolidated prediction figure. The prediction figure looks something like this. Here it say at I with a chance of 23%, I will be able and I'll with 2.2 million as a money if I get, I'll be able to meet with 23% confidence. When you give me 2 point some 45, right? When you give me 2.45, I have 85% chance of meeting the target. You understand? With the various combinations, you will be telling two things. What is the probability or the confidence of my estimate at what money?
Mm.
Hmm? Just hold, I'll repeat again. So that when you go and revise, it should be clear to you. So this is my Carlo simulation result.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have an x-axis which is money and the y-axis which tells confidence of my estimate. Now this chart, what it does, I have an 80. This chart say you go and go to your senior manager and say, sir, this I have 85% chance to meet the target if you give me 2.45 million. And you say, if management say, no, no, you tell me what I have budget of only 2.2. Tell me what is your confidence level? No, sir, I can do only for 23 percentage. If you give me only 2.2, I have only 23% chance to win. But usually many organizations have a different this one, no, like the risk tolerance and the way they handle this kind of risk.
Mm-hmm.
So they ask for 70%. It depends on organization. Typically 70%. Then you say 70%. If you give me 2.35 million, I have 70% confidence to achieve this project, achieve the
Mm.
target, right? So this talks about confidence of my uh, estimate. This talks about at what money.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'll ask you other question. If you are asked like with 50% confidence, how much money you need? If you want to give it that 50% confidence, how much money you need?
So 50% is
Simple.
somewhere 2.2
Exactly.
something million.
So if they say, okay, Swati, your managers say, Swati, you are given, I'll somehow manage to give you 2.4 million. So what will be your confidence level? This is very important project. Then you say, okay,
70.
79.
Yeah, yeah.
Hope you are able to. So this how it gets. Like we did the mileage of car design. Like this takes many combinations. The problem with this is the guy who feed in that the basic input, no, minimum. I mean, what to say, optimistic, pessimistic, and
Mm-hmm.
that should be as good as possible.
Right.
Okay, because involves the data is the one you feed it, but he helps in multiple simulations. But the data is what you feed it. Now there is something called simulation. It's a generic term. We are done with Monte Carlo. There's a generic term called simulation. Here you will try to understand the interdependencies between the input factor. Okay, one input factor may impact the other input factor. Okay, it will also do a combined effect. See, for example, in our example of mileage of car, it's not just one parameter like our coffee, our milk taste. It involves multiple parameter. It means heat of the car, weight of the car, all right. The interdependencies, the combined effect you wanted to understand, you go for simulation. Okay, this is again computer models which you use it. Now, decision tree. Okay, a simple example. What is the time now? 25. Okay, we have. So, do you need break or shall
No,
we finish this?
I'm good. We can
Okay.
continue.
Okay. So you have an example in Spinbox, and we'll also give you one more example for you to walk through offline. And when you refer Pinbox, don't be worried. This is simple. What is decision tree is? You wanted to take a decision of multiple options. You want to know objectively which option is better.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Suppose you have a business prospects. You want to either build from the scratch, yeah, I mean an infrastructure, or you upgrade an existing infrastructure. These are the two options. You wanted to know which one is good. So it's a building a new plant. The point is you need to invest $120 million. If it's upgrading a plant, you just have to invest only $50. This is for example. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now building will take investment of $120 million. One upgrading a plant will take only $50 million, which will improve the capacity of your production. Now you use your finance experts, you use external experts, like right. I don't know whether you're aware. um, in Tamil Nadu, we have DMK. Okay, and they took the help of Prashant Kishore. There's one company who does social media marketing. Okay, so it's a heavy investment but a heavy return. They have become a CM today because they have taken care of social media marketing. Now, those people like who are strong in the domain, they know to predict the market. And the social media partner, they were telling certainly at this place you will win. They won. DMK won. Okay. So these people who are financial experts, who know the market for sure, usually your portfolio manager will have more clarity than us, okay, than all of us, because they work when they live and breathe only on that. They'll be able to understand. You can use their input, and you can see building a new plant. They say I have a strong demand situation, I have a weak demand situation. There's both a possibility. The strong demand will take you 60% with the probability, and weak demand maybe 40%. Okay. Now, when I have strong demand, I get a return of 200 million. When I get a weak, when I a situation, if it's a weak demand, I get a $90 million, 90 million. Now,
Mm-hmm.
what do you do for both the cases? So you see, this 200 is the return. You see the return here. The 200 is the return. Okay, this 80, this 200 is nothing but this one. Correct. And the 120 is the one which you invested.
Mm.
So you deduct your expected return minus the investment you made. The same thing, you deduct the expected return minus the investment for this case also, for other two branches also. Once when you do, you get around 80 million here. That's 80 million that they have mapped here. You got it, no? This is what the same thing. This 30 million is what they have. Now, you can, this is one important point. With 60% probability, I get 80 million.
Mm-hmm.
Correct? The 60% probability, I get this 80 million. That's what you have put in. It's probability. There's nothing but uh, this is called expected monetary value. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
expected monetary value, and this is nothing but the probability of occurrence into dollar impact. So this gives in your monetary terms. Dollar
Mm-hmm.
impact means the monetary impact is what you are saying. Okay, dollar impact. Now, can you get this clear? 36, it comes with 60% and 80.4 into 30.
Yeah.
This you do this. Now, which one is better? You see, with even with low investment, I see the 46 which I get it from upgrade the plant is better than building a new plant.
Right.
So, long story short, this is helpful for objective decision making based on the probability and impact. You use a technique called expected monetary value, okay, to calculate which one is better, and which this is going to be again covered in your risk. If you see this is clear to you, we can avoid that in risk. Simple.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Keep right. Where are we? Okay. I think we are
Yes.
done. We are done. Okay. So you also adopt some disciplined agile approach. Okay. Disciplined agile is basically not hardwiring to one particular agile approach. You look at the stakeholders' expectation and the delivery I mean the delivery value delivery what you are supposed to do. So based on that, you're going to steer or you're going to use a combinations of agile, lean, and traditional. There's no hardwired approach. You you make it flexible so that you assess the situation. Like Scrum and all, it's very hardwired, right? Disciplined agile is the lenience what you're going to have. You're going to see what I'm going to handpick. That's called disciplined agile. This is for scaling up to organization level. Okay, and this gives you flexibility, and based on the need, how you can be adaptive.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, your MBA is a focus. We saw that. And how will you evaluate in what do you say, in agile that you are delivering value? You use sprint reviews and demos, correct? I think we covered all this. Okay, one last A/B testing and net promoter score. So going back, let's connect the dot. Are we clear on Monte Carlo on this one we did?
Yeah, the tree. Yes.
Okay, so there's a little other part. There's something called, let's see, this talks about economic aspects. Okay, let's talk about the non economic aspect. The non economic aspects could be, I want to see, I mean, we saw that, right? Like strategic alignment and based on whether feasibility of available of resources, whether we'll be able to do or not. Those things we will check and we will select the project. Certain other things which will help you. which will also help as an additional parameter to decide uh, our next course of action. So there's
Mm-hmm.
something called net promoter score. So what you do, you will evaluate your existing customer. You give them a survey. I think you do some CSAT survey, no, like customer satisfaction survey.
Yeah.
So that's a net promoter score we are referring to. So there are, when you get when you request your customer and you beg your customer, and after he gives you the rating, what is the interpretations we make? So there are three areas which we see. They call detractors, passive, and promoters. Detractors are the one where they have scored you less than 5, okay, less than 0 to 6 they have scored you. So that means customer is not happy with you and he will not refer you and he will go out of you. Detractors. Passive is something who gives 7 and 8, and you can't make any conclusion out of this rating because he is neither giving high or low. Promoters are, he gives a better score to you, he's happy about your service, okay, and he love to refer other customer. He'll be loyal to you. He will not, I mean, he will, the customer may not switch from you on the one which he is associated with you. Customer retention is more, customer satisfaction is more, customer referrals also more with this score, right? Based on this, you're going to steer your plan, your approach on delivering value.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions on this net promoter score?
No. I mean, I actually know about the net promoter score
Beautiful.
before.
Maybe the point is, I have worked, I mean, discussed with many. Each organization have their own NPS defined. And why I have to highlight is from the PIMBOK standpoint of view, it may be different scale for you, no? Promoters here,
Exactly.
detractors. Mm.
Exactly. But fundamentally, I understand the concept.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
This three you make a note because you know the concept, but this three you make a note. In case this is the PIMBOK defined one, and PIMBOK has referred this. So in case we get a question on the decision, detractors, passive, and promoters, it's easy to crack. Now, A/B testing. In simple, what is this? This is the last topic in our session here. A/B testing is, I have a simple. I have a car, and I have a Volkswagen car. Now, what I
Mm-hmm.
do, I manufacture Volkswagen car. Now, I ask the user to come and sit in the car and tell him, I just change one parameter. You know, the windpipe, windscreen, and the indicator window. What is the indicator switch? That's in your steering, no? Windscreen switch and indicator switch. So I keep it in one way and ask him to drive and take the feedback. And I swap. Then the next one I swap. The next car I will swap. I will ask how I swap this wind switch and the indicator switch, and the left and right I'll switch that. So I just change one parameter and take a feedback from customer and ask us feedback so that I will optimize my solution. So A/B testing is,
Isolation.
you A/B testing is basically you use one change in the parameter, or you make one changes in a particular independent variable parameter and ask for user feedback. Then based on the feedback, you're going to approach an optimized solution.
Got it.
Hmm. So this is all what we do in our. So we do something and we'll ask our manager, is this fine? Can we release this deck to customer? No, we'll change a little and then we'll show. So we those experiments we do. No, that's what again here. So easiest thing is car. I think when we easy for you to recollect.
Yeah.
So it's a method to detect user preference. And you also know that, right? The net promoter will help you to understand customer satisfaction and customer referral. How can he, how much he can refer? We'll be able to sense it. Net promoter score, A/B testing will help you to see which particular, when I change one parameter, um, what is the preference, what is the feedback from the user.
Okay.
Right. Are we done? Any questions? We're done on this.
I mean, like lot to go about, but it's like, see, the thing is, like, I work, right? So I finish here 11:30, 12, and then
Oh.
morning 5:30. I have to do things. I don't get time to sit and read.
No, I understood. That was your first task. So that's why, actually, I'm a little worried. We are behind the schedule. But the point is, as you said, you don't have time. So uh, I wanted to ensure from your, what do you say, based on the conversation, I'll be sure whether you get it or not. No.
Yeah, I mean, like,
So,
the thing is, I'll study for sure, but weekends and I can spend time. But like
mm,
now, from past 2 days, like when you finish the chapter, I wanted to refer back, and like I want to go to
mm,
the
mm.
uh take the pre-test and all. That was not possible. So maybe I'll try to do it over the weekend. So then I'll have my things sorted,
Yeah,
right?
at bare minimum, at least walk through the PPTs and make a note of queries. Use MS Team chat for query discussion. Okay, and I'll also ask our Sandeep now. Okay, can I quickly walk through on the next just two topic? Okay, can we take some 5 minutes break?
Sure.
So we will reconnect and we'll have some 15 minutes discussion on the next topic.
Okay.
Next topic, Swati. This 1 second. There is where are we? We'll just assess where do we stand.
But did we like caught up today? Because we went like good speed, right, today.
No, no. Actually, frankly speaking, I'm spending double time. Uh, just because you had one concern, like offline, it takes time for you to walk through. But once, I'll show you my desktop. By the way, so weekends, will you be able to accommodate Swati? Like tomorrow, we have a session with other Ambao. Will you be able to accommodate
Of
weekend?
course. Of course.
So, but I have to give preference. Like I today, I give preference for your slot. I have to give preference for other team member. Let me know. Let me tell you what time will work for her. Okay, and Monday to Saturday morning, I need to give preference to Swati. So Saturday, Sunday, I need to give preference to the other person. so, so let me just talk to her. How much she can
But
accommodate.
she's not attending like today's class, na?
No, no,
Maybe.
because she's a weekend. She's for the weekend. See, Swati, here we did compliance, we did deliver value, and we have two more. This one is very simple because we have covered many of the slides. You see, you remember this functional? We did all this, right?
I don't have it open. I cannot see it except for the
Oh, oh, oh. No, 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 no. I'm sorry. I'm not sharing the desktop. See, some certain things are already covered. It is easy to go through, right? Okay, Swati, we just take 5 minutes and we'll come back.
okay.
Yeah, 5 minutes. Swati, I'm back. If you're fine, we'll start.
I'm here. I didn't
Yeah.
go anywhere. If I go
Oh, okay,
anywhere, I'm
okay.
off.
Okay. Good, good. So you can see, Swati, we did on compliance, we did on deliver value, and we have only two more topics to go. But most of the topics are already covered, but we'll run through. Okay. And just so some even you can prefer to type in notes, something very important for you. You felt you wanted to make a note, capture in the chat. Okay. And it's not necessarily the questions. Something important you feel like
But the
important.
chat is not saved, right? So what?
It should be saved. It is saved. I can see how I can retrieve it. I'll talk to Sandeep and we can retrieve it. I believe it
Okay.
should
And
be
like in the
retrieved.
office, I usually get the conversation history after
Hmm.
the meetings.
It
But
should be
like,
possible.
okay.
Let me just figure out that action. I'll take that action item. I'll talk to Sandeep and see how we can use it for. Uh, we can retrieve. Now, one second. Evaluate changes. Hmm. Okay, so you just give me a 1 second. I'm just making things simple. Right. Okay. See, there is. Okay. Where is my desktop screen? Okay. Now we saw this too, and right, and we are going to head to this one. So evaluate and address internal and external business environment changes. So this is the task objective. So what are we trying to do? There is a project we have, and there are some environment in which we are operating in. Correct. Our project is performing under the umbrella of the environment, external environment, and we are interacting with environment, business, and with other environmental factor. So there are situations where your project will impact the environment, and the environment will impact your project. Correct. This is bilateral, right? In simple terms, your project, there's a COVID, and your that will give a trigger for you to start a project for inventing vaccine. And when you invent a vaccine, this particular outcome will be used by the environment to solve their issue. So that means there is a bilateral relationship, there is an impact. So here, when you do the project, you need to evaluate the changes that happens in the internal and external business environment. Right. Now, in short, I'll just show you a big picture and then we'll go back to that. This will help you to walk through quickly. See, when I evaluate internal and external, when I evaluate the internal external business environment, I have to look for internal changes and also look at the external changes. Agree with me?
Mm-hmm.
So internal changes, your org structure, your whatever we saw, no, like your leadership style, your org structure, all these parameters stemmed out of your resource capability. All these things are internal changes that may happen. Your attrition, all this comes as part of internal changes. You remember EEF, external environmental factor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, those internal factors will might manifest as a change to your project. Okay. External, we want to define, we want to understand what are the external factors that are possible. So we use something called prompt list. Means this is a conscious list for you to say, like WebGR, like I will give you 110 colors, and or I'll give you 100 colors. You want to map this comes under which family. So you have a WebGR checklist. You say this many in violet, this many in indigo. Correct? That's some way, same way. This is a prompt list which will tell you do. There are three prompt lists in the sense, basically a check, buckets, a checklist for you to put. your environment identification under respective bucket. We call it PESEL, TCOP, and VUCA. These are the things called prompt list. What is this? This is something like your SWOT. SWOT, right? Strength,
Yeah.
weakness, opportunities, threats.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's a
Got it.
prompt list for you. So people will discuss different. Now you're going to say, no, no, stop. I'm going to talk about strength. You talk all the things about strength now. It will help you organize your meeting in a particular topic. So, like SWOT, you have PESEL, TCOP, VUCA. So PESEL is what famous, predominantly used. At least you need to understand what is VUCA and TCOP. What is PESEL? It is political, economical, social, technological, environmental, and legal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this will be part in the next, in a couple of slides, you will have that acronym. So this is a famous acronym. The whole objective of PESEL, like you do SWOT as a prompt list to understand the strength and weakness, opportunities and threats, you use PESEL to understand the external environment
Okay.
in various category. What are the political issues I have? What are the environmental issue I have? Social, technological issues. Environmental is like a calamity. Whether what are the
Mm-hmm.
legal issues I have to handle, or I have that my changes might come in your project that may impose as changes. So tax policy, GST was suddenly brought in India, and your demonetization was brought in India. Correct?
Mm-hmm. What is happening now?
Yeah, you have to be paying sense. You have to be sensitive on the environment changes, and you have to adapt. You can't say it takes more time for us. No, see inflation rates. Okay, when you make purchases, you need to at least find the trend, like at which part of the month usually the inflation happens. These things you need to be attention. Okay, so PESEL is a prompt list. Okay, and like PESEL you have TCOP. This again TCOP and VUCA are another set of acronym. Where is my where is my Okay, like this we have PESEL, we have TCOP and VUCA. Volatility, I'll get the acronym. I was having something here. Right. Now, on the internal business environment, you have to ensure there are changes happening, and how you can align is you need to ensure you have a visibility into the business plans and organization reorganize whatever the reorg that happens, and other internal activities. You have to be on top of. As a project manager, you have to be on top of it. Correct, so that you are sensing the internal business environment. Now, what all might happen? See, you have internal and external business environment. What all might happen? Um, or what are things that you need to take care to accommodate the changes? One is you will have a governance and steering committee. Governance, right? Like you have a you have governance. You're aware of what is governance, Swati?
Yes.
So governance is the one who will actually monitor you, whatever that objectives of the project are met or not. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to send them. You're going to report them. So these people are steering committee. So you do as a senior. Yes, most of the time, senior project managers or your program manager or portfolio manager will be part of your governance committee. So
Yeah.
they will, when you prepare report, they will ensure, they will pay attention to parameters like, are you aligned to the organization strategy, you have any
The goals.
yes, approvals pending, or you need any support you want to secure any support from them. So all these things are governance. Uh, so this will help you to handle the changes. Change control board, because of the changes, it may impact your baselines, it may impact your plans or objectives. So you make a change request, you analyze. There's a big topic on change request, will come in detail in the upcoming sessions. On a high level, you raise a change request, you send it to the CCB, change control board. It's basically a body of people who will you will give a change You'll give the change request. You will also give them the solutions that you have found out, the impact that you have found out. You're going to submit them for approval, and your change control board will review the changes, will review the impact of the changes, and you will also be suggesting some recommended solution. They will also let you know which options to go. Okay, that's a whole work of change control board. Configuration management we already saw, versioning, tracking, proof of validation, how to recover when you wanted to retrieve the data. Suppose your recent version is lost. All this will be help. You can take it from configuration management system. On the most important here, which we are aware, but let's pay attention. Backlog reprioritization. So based on the internal business environment changes, there could be some driving factor for you to prioritize where the complaints may top the list. You would have ignored it. Now because of some changes in the compliance, that could be a reason that you have to push it at the top. Okay, and here you need to do backlog reprioritization. And product owner duties are nothing but he's the one who's accountable, so his job is to ensure the backlogs are prioritized based on the value which is concluded with a stakeholder. Release planning, like you will need to steer the release plan, right, based on the changes. You want to see whether the impact happens, so you need to revise the release plan, you need to revise the roadmap, and you need to track the baselines. What is baseline here? So we would have concluded on a particular scope, time, and cost. Because of some changes in the environment, it may attract some changes in your baseline, right? So updating baseline. These are the methods you respond to the change.
Hmm.
Okay. So we got okay. So when you identify changes for predictive, you update the baselines. For agile, you do backlog reprioritization, and your PMO to your product owner to change the right the backlogs based on the value that was concluded with the stakeholder. Now the last topic in this. Can we move on? You have any questions?
I think we are good. I mean, I'm good, but like it's 11:30.
Oh, it's 9 now. Okay, okay, okay. Fine. Is it fine for another 10 more minutes, Swati?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah, yeah. Good. So this will give you some room to walk through during the weekend. This is quite easy. We already discussed this. Okay. So you remember this slide we saw?
Yeah, we
Your
did. Yeah,
okay.
second day
Whole,
we saw.
the whole objective of this support organization changes. Like your organization as an internal environment have to face a lot of changes, and the factors that contribute to changes are that we discussed, and also the org structure we discussed. So we were spending in detail, so I don't think we have to spend today. If you have any issues, let me know. Okay, so until this slides we have discussed already, correct?
Yeah.
DEF and OPA. Now, again, we saw this in the last when internal environment, what are the changes that might come, and what is that you have to do. So, I think we have covered the repeats. You have to change the release plan. Okay, there's one thing I want to add. There's something called rollout plan. Okay, we are done, Swati. We covered in that also. So we have a repeat happening. So we do something called rollout plan. See, basically, when you want to transition to once when your project is over and you want to transition your deliverables to the this recipient organization, your rollout plan will enable you to define. You have to take care of knowledge transfer, how you're going to do the training plans and readiness activity required to implement the change. See, for example, your organization right now say all are working from remote, and I want to roll out um, employee monitoring software. No, in many organizations they have started doing it. Means they'll be able to keep track of when you log in, when you log out, and they will directly use the data to capture the attendance and activities in your official work. So some stakeholders will be not sensitive, will be not liking this idea. Okay, so but still After all assessment, they will come out with a rollout plan, and they will do a couple of things. One is they will work on the knowledge transfer. Okay, when a product, how to use it, and they will give you training, and they will also do, are you ready? Readiness activities includes equipping the recipient organization, or equipping the your organization to transition your output to the recipient organization. Okay, so what is a training plan? So there's three activities. One is training and readiness activity. Okay, knowledge transfer, training, and readiness activity. So training plan, you will look at the current capability of the members. You also assess the need of the skill set, and you come out with a training plan. And this talks about training artifacts. This includes you may have to set up a lab, the training courseware, and sometimes you may have to give certificate. Okay, certificate may be mandated for some companies. When you work for life critical equipment, so you need to be trained. They want a certification to be provided.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. So whether that demands a need of a certification. So all these things you capture as part of rollout plan. Why all we say this? So we are supporting organization change. Organization change will, as we discussed earlier, when our project will do impact on the business environment, and business environment will also create an impact on the project. It's a bilateral path impact. Now, when your project does something like changing the, I mean, like employee monitoring software or attendance tracker or something, roll to every employee, that means you're creating an impact on your organization. And then you have to safely, I mean, you have to ensure that transition happens properly. Correct. That's where the rollout plan comes into picture. So sometimes you may have to give the demo and give the feedback, get the feedback from customer. Says it appears to be it is just easy. It's not so complex. It's just easy. You want to show them a demo and get the feedback, and maybe you want to steer. You can use the feedback and use it for improvement. Correct. When you roll out, so demo is one of the way you roll out. Now let me go to the mind map. So when you identify change, you will look for organization culture, OPA, EF, okay? And organization culture is what we saw as the functional matrix, the PMO times we saw, right? Supportive
Mm-hmm.
control directive. You remember that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you identify the changes, and you're going to use change control board, config management system, governance, and you do release planning. You updates all these, like we said, no backlog reprioritization, updating the
Got
plans, these lines. Okay, and change adoption. Change adoption, you do a demo, like we just discussed. You before you're gonna clear the air. Now this is what this one was. This is not that complex. You can start using in your project. So people give demo. It's to help them roll out. Okay, and you do transition planning, a training plan, knowledge transfer, readiness activity. Readiness activity is some preparation activity you need to do, no? Like some basic setup. Before I transition, I need to keep all the updated files, give them an example. See, nowhere you are not supposed to give a, it's not good practice to just show a template, send the template, and ask people to fill. It's a good practice to give one sample. Every template will become valuable only if you put one sample in that entry, so that people know, okay, this is what I this means. Correct. Right. So those are all you can attribute to readiness activity. The last one, Swati,
Mm-hmm.
it's on the continuous improvement. Okay, another 2 3 minutes. So what is continuous improvement? So we take a deliberate effort to improve, to capture our learning, okay, and improve upon progressively. That's the whole objective of continuous improvement. Now let me, okay, an ongoing effort to improve product, service, or process. So your continuous improvement, you need to understand that. I mean, I'll just give a bird's eye view, and then we'll go anything specific. So how do you do continuous improvement? There are two majorly widely used. One is Kaizen, they call. Another one is PDCA. Okay, Kaizen is you can see progressively you make small increment of improvement, many small changes. So there are 100 things you see in your process issue. You just take one by one, start giving improvement progressively, one by one. Kaizen. So PDCA is other famously used terms. It's called Plan, Do, Check, Act. Okay, you take on increment, you identify the improvement area, you plan it for improvement, you do it, you check it, and you identify the next one and move on. So it is PDCA is Plan, Do, Check, Act. So there's another. This is it's not that two different way. They are all achieving in their own. See, this talks about small increment changes. This again talks about small increment changes. Okay, here you progressively improve your baseline. Today your accuracy level is you are creating a defects of 50. Okay, tomorrow you will target to reduce the defects to 40 and then 30. That is your plan to check act. Kaizen is you identify various process issue, you go fix one by one. You understand, no? There's no big
Yeah.
yeah, it's nothing like totally they are different or they are same. Each one has this objective. Now your okay, did I give a big picture to you? So we do this, and so there are learning tools on continuous improvement. One is lessons learned register, which you use it in your project, and you also upload in the repository. Okay, and you do retrospective meeting in your agile. Correct. That is good for you to continuously improve. Experiments, we saw A/B testing, right? You do some various experiments like, okay, why is the problem? I change the, I swap my indicator and the wiper switch. I see an improvement in driving. I see members are comfortable in driving. So it's an experiment. So with lessons learned register, retro, and experiments. So these are the major CI tools, continuous improvement tools we use. Update standards. Once you see you have improved, you update your standards so that your baselines are improved. Going forward, you follow the standard updated one. Once you are achieved something, you want to improve. Your baseline will improve. Like this will become your standard. The next one will become your standard. You keep updating your standard. Right, I think we are done. The last thing which we will do it in quality, the last topic here, which we will do it in as part of quality. Okay, on a high level, there are a couple of guys who contributed as a quality guru to our work. Okay, so one is Six Sigma. Okay, and Six Sigma is about okay, William Smith is a one known for evangelizing Six Sigma. Okay, now Six Sigma, the main objective is to improve the accuracy and reduce the defects and reduce the variations in your process. Okay, variations nothing but we were discussing one example, I believe I forgot. Yeah, that filling the scent in a bottle. Okay, so there are different variations. One is naturally there is a variation in the one you use it your in the machine that fills the scent, right? There's a natural variation, or there could be some abrupt cause which overflow or does not flow. Okay, so there are variations inherent in you. We're going to talk in detail in the quality management. So Six Sigma focus on accuracy improvement, reduction of defects, and reducing variations in your deliverables. And Joseph Murjuran, so this guy talks about they call triology. So he segment into the quality management into quality planning, control, and improvement. So these three, he segment the entire quality management to have suggested to have quality planning, control, and improvement. Have this say three discrete. Okay, and this is to improve our work to in the quality. Now, Edward Deming is a PDCA, which we saw, right? PDCA is the one who contributed. Edward Deming is the one who contributed that. Phillips Crosby, there's another theory. We will discuss in detail. So these are the things. We can have a bullet. can have a bullet. You are saying something, Swati?
No, no, I didn't say anything.
Uh, yeah. So Phillips Crosby, he comes out with his own the statements on quality. Like it is more about conforming to requirement, quality achieved by prevention, and we set up a standard to zero defects, and quality measured by determining the cost of quality. Means how much you spend for quality. This is how you determine quality. Each one have their own gurus have their own perspective, and they brought values to the quality. So this guy Taguchi, he talks about I mean, quality is built in, like so that the variations are reduced while you built in. The variation we saw, right? Like what we fill in scent bottle. Okay, so design quality into the product so that the factors that cause variation can be identified and controlled. So while during the process, while you design your product itself, you start reducing the variation, possibility of reducing variation. Fine, we'll have good examples discussed for each of this during our quality management knowledge area. Hmm?
Okay.
Any questions? So it's a long day for you.
Yeah.
Right. So,
No, and then I think I will over the weekend when I read it, I'll have more questions.
ah,
And in